Energized show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, introduce the champs.
Today we have two of the best fighters on the island of Ireland. We have the welterweight champion from Cage Warriors, the one and only Skeletor Rhys McKee, and the featherweight champion of Cage Warriors. Big news, Paul Hughes. Lads, how are we doing?
Good, brother. Good. Always love the intros.
Actually, look, we tried to make them big. I stuttered over my words there. It doesn't happen too often, but you know what I mean. I'm starstruck here now. With all the champs in the one show. So, first of all, Rhys, how's that shoulder of yours? Because it's good to see you out of the sling.
Yeah, good. I picked up. It was actually my first sparring session back. After like the cuts were like kind of signed off to spar, and then I done an extra round and picked up a shoulder injury, and it put me out. It put me out for about 12 weeks. But the improvement it's made already in the first 2 weeks is scary. So I'm going to challenge the 12 weeks and see what we can do.
That's a real Paul Hughes move, doing next round and then picking up the injury. Paul, obviously you were out for a while with an injury of your own, but now you're booked in November 4th, back in London, a unification bout with Jordan Vucenic. How are you feeling, man? You must be over the moon these days.
Over the moon, brother. Over the moon in full fight camp mode. Like, so it's all go at the minute. Like, it's exactly where I wanted to be. It took a wee while to get back, but it's damn good to be in that full flowing fight camp mode.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You guys are, I would dare to say at the peak of your careers to date as of now. So absolutely essential to get you on and have a chat with you and see where you're at. Paul, tell us this. Go on.
Yeah, Ross, because obviously last time we had Rhys in the show after he became the champ, and now Paul is looking to unify the belts as well. So it's great for Irish MMA to be able to see the two lads like carrying the gold and doing exactly what people are setting out in their careers to do.
Absolutely.
No, it absolutely is. It's insane what the two boys are doing. Paul, tell us this. How did the Vucenic fight come about? Because I saw there was a bit of back and forth. He put out a post saying, he'd signed and you hadn't signed, and then he was on with Andy Stevenson, and he was saying that he heard rumors that you were knocked out and stuff like that. Like, tell us all about that, because like that was a lot of drama to start off this title.
Yeah, it was Rhys McKee. Rhys McKee hit me a dirty Joe at the end of
I
sparring.
was just gonna ask that.
It was Rhys McKee.
It's like I'm the only champ in this island.
Yeah, we West Belfast special. The man's looking away. You just hit him from the behind, But no, mate, it actually came about. It was really funny how it came about. I was talking to my manager Dave, and we hadn't spoken like maybe I would say like a month or something. I was just training in Thailand, just training hard, preparing, getting ready for whatever was next. And at this point, I didn't really know what was going on with the division. I hadn't spoke to Dave in a month. I hadn't spoke to Cage Warriors. For all I knew, Jordan could have had an opponent for the month after for another show. So I didn't really know what was going on. And then it was like, right, Dave, we'll get a catch up here. And I think it was the Wednesday night I had spoke to Dave, and he was like, when he want to get back in there, and I was like, October sounds about right. October, maybe November, but October ideally. And he goes, yeah, leave it with me. I'll find out the dates here with Cage Warriors and see what the crack is. And then he texted me the night after, November 4th, Jordan, London, and I was like, let's fucking go. Perfect. Like no negotiations, no back and forth, no like, this that. It was like, there's the date, there, you want it? And I was like, absolutely. And Cage Warriors actually wanted it. They wanted to release it straight away. They had their 20th anniversary show right after that, and they wanted to release it that night to promote it, obviously. And Jordan hadn't got back with any word with saying yes to the fight. So I was like, right, I'll sort of leave it here. I'll not chat shit or anything. Yeah, you never know what people could have on. They could have a family wedding or something like that. So I was like, I'll leave it. I'll give the man his piece here. And then it got to like a week later, and there was still no word back, no contract signed. So I was sort of like, what's going on here? What's the crack like? Like I had absolutely give the go ahead, like. And then Jordan had put up that post in. I had woke up to that post. It was like, I'm giving, whatever he said, it was like, I'm giving Paul the opportunity again. We were supposed to fight in March, and now I have to fight him again. I should be in the UFC. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo, I didn't get signed, and now I have to fight the best guy again. And then I was like, well, sign the contract, my friend. Let's stop beating around the bush. If you're this real fighter that you talked about in the post, that's fought everybody, then let's show it. So then he signed the contract, and here we are.
Paul, obviously we were over in London for Martros, and that the fight obviously fell off. Like, you had everyone there support you, everyone rocking the Paul Hughes t-shirts. Like, you put out a post, and it was very emotional. Was there any thought to cross your mind that maybe you'd have to retire or anything? Because it was very, very emotional post you put out.
Oh man, I mean, it was it was a hard time, man. I just couldn't believe that it happened just the week before the fight. It was really, really, it was traumatic. Like, I could not believe that all the cards had just fallen at the end after such a perfect camp. Everything was perfect. Like, and funny, Rhys said there, but the last round, it was a grapple class, and we done an extra round at the end with a friend of mine.
I knew it.
Sorry,
I was a typical. I knew it.
I know, and it just blew the neck out completely. Was on the floor for a long time. But yeah, man, no, I never thought about retirement. I knew I would come back, but it was such a serious injury. I genuinely was traumatized. I was like, I can't believe, looking back now, I can't believe I was even considering getting in there and fighting. It took me 4 or 5 days. I was at the physio every day, and I was fighting that night up until my coaches were like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't move your neck. Like,
Rhys,
yeah.
Rhys, did you feel guilty for that, for injuring Paul? And also, what do you make of the Jordan Vucenic Paul Hughes rematch as well on Cage Warriors? It's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, like, I'm all for it. I mean, you'll not get a bigger Paul Hughes fan than me. So, I believe Paul should be in the higher echelons of the UFC. But I think, this is his time just to prove it once again. What he's done and the guys he's beat, he deserves to be there. So if it means he has to prove it one more night, then so be it, is what he'll do. And, a kid with the mindset of Paul will never be beat. And November 4th is just another chance for him to show it.
Yeah, and obviously, Rhys, you got your win in Belfast. We haven't seen what your next move is going to be. We don't know where it's going to be next. I know someone actually asked you on your Sunday ritual Q&A session, would you go Contender Series next? And you were like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to, because you've been there before. People have fought in the UFC and then come back and fought their way into the UFC through the Contender Series. So, like, that is still an option. In an ideal world, where will you fight next? Will it be straight in the UFC Contender Series? Like, do you have any preference? And then, has there been any contact?
I mean, ideally, we're going to get the UFC shout, depending on what comes up card-wise. If Leon Edwards brings them in March, who knows what will happen. But regardless, like I've said to Graham, we have a certain time frame where we're kind of going to sit and wait to. And then after that, I'm fighting this year 100%. So if it's not the UFC before, then I'm going to be on that New Year's Eve card and defend the title, whoever's there. And listen, if I just keep turning up and keep finishing people, it doesn't matter how many I have to finish. It's undeniable. It's going to happen. It's just a given at this point. So if it's now, it's now. Like, fantastic. If it's not, then I beat one more, and then it definitely is now.
Yeah, what's called it really is undeniable. Like, for us, like, we think you should be there already. Like, the way that Burlington fight went was absolutely insane. It was one of the best fights I've ever seen live, and
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, well, actually, Paul, give us your insight, because I think you were in Thailand, I think, at the time, and I remember seeing your reaction the next day watching it live.
His videos are amazing.
Roaring the telly down.
Videos in here. Oh, mate, my neighbours, it was like 5 a.m. in Thailand, and oh my goodness, I was screaming the fucking gaff down. Like, oh man, I mean, these moments are so special. Like, it's when Rhys won the belt, when Joe won the belt, it's genuinely feels just as good as myself winning the belt. Truly. Them moments are some of the best moments in my life. Seeing my teammates do that, it's so special, because as a fighter, you see what you go through and what you sacrifice to get there. And for Rhys to do that in Belfast in front of the home crowd, after all he's been through as well, himself and his career, and it was special, man. It really, really was special. And as you say, the man should be in the UFC. It's undeniable, absolutely undeniable. He has the whole country behind him. Like, so, yeah, it was a hell of a night. Like,
yeah, it was really, really special. Like, we were there, and we witnessed, like, the entire atmosphere went nuts from from the walkout to walking backstage with the belt, you know what I mean, to Domino's Pizza with Justin Burlinson at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing was epic. It really
Unbelievable.
was.
The entire thing was incredible. The crowd, like, it was really, really a special event. Like, really special.
The complete story, like, you know, like the complete story. Like, it's mad. Some, like, people say you can't have perfect camps and stuff, and, like, you know, was perfect, and then maybe not the perfect fight, but it was the perfect story, if that makes sense.
It was
so
like
exciting.
Possibly the perfect fight for a fan to watch, though, because it was so back and forth, and like there was moments where like you're on the edge of your seat from the first bell till the moment the ref pulled you off, and like it was
absolutely. And it's like, I done like a post last night, and like, you know, Paul will know this is Paul's mentality too. Like, you just have to be relentless, and you know, even when Justin had me in the worst positions, like, you really have to kill us to get us out of there. Like, it's you can't teach dog, and you know, if you're a dog, it's the hardest thing to beat out of someone. You'll never do it.
No,
the amazing thing is, like, it's not even halfway through the story, but for both is it's just things are only really heating up. And like, one thing I admire from both is as well, the production you put into behind the scenes as well, not just with your teams, but the videos, the vlogs, the countdown stuff you put on in the build to the fight, the hype the fight, is something that other people in the country and on the roster should really take notice of, and not necessarily copy, but like implement into their countdowns, their fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, if you see me and Paul training in the middle of a camp, it'll be like a fucking entourage coming out. You know, and there's people, you know, there's people that'll have their own opinions in that and stuff, you know, but again, it's why are me and Paul two of the most watched people in the country? Because we work hard, not just on the mats, but off the mats. You know, if you don't have a brand, if you don't have, you know, an identity, if you don't have something relatable to 14-year-olds who train in your gym, then what are we doing it for? You know, we're making it very much reachable for all these people. So I do think people like me and Paul are definitely setting patterns out for people to follow.
Yeah, you're definitely people to look up to in the MMA space in this country, and then also like you said, in your own gym, and I suppose you're both leaders within your own gym. Do you feel there's extra responsibility on your shoulders being leaders within your gym?
What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, absolutely. But it's a really beautiful thing as well to have kids in the gym looking up to you. It's a really, really special thing that I absolutely don't take for granted. Like, and it's something I take very, very serious, is being a role model with what I put out there, with my content, and with just how I live my life. It is a very serious thing, and it's something that our country, it's a pretty small country, and I think sometimes what we have in this country, although we have still unfortunately a lot of division, and obviously a interesting history, the people that we look up to here are most often sports people. So it's something I take very seriously, and it's something I hope to really continue. I just want to represent here very, very well, and clearly Rhys does that very well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I want to continue to do.
Yeah, it's hard to add to what Paul said, but I guarantee if you go up in FAI and seen any of the young kids' hair, and they'll all be getting Paul's new haircut. Do you know what I mean? So
you'll have the jerseys as well.
Yes, sir.
They'll all be running about in the jerseys, and you know, but there's something to be said that it shows he's doing something right. Like, they want any 1% of Paul what they can get, you know, and it shows. Like, he's leading the way, and again, like, it's just unbelievable. Like, I think it's hard when you're in that position, you don't realize, but when you see it from the outside in a wee bit, like, you know, it's special things we're doing.
We were actually at the weigh-ins, Paul, for UFC London, the second one in July, and we actually saw 2 or 3 people wearing the Paul Hughes jersey, and we were like, "Yup, the Paul Hughes." It was pretty cool to see.
Do you know what? It's actually hilarious. Last week there, I was in the gym, and one of my friends who's the PT in the gym, his client came up to me and was like, "Oh, here, mate, I was in Budapest there last week, and a guy drove past me on a moped wearing your t-shirt, and I shouted him down, and he stopped, and I just goes, 'Paul Hughes,' and he goes, 'Aye,' and he drove on, which I thought was hilarious. Like, a few people have said that before, like seeing my jerseys in like Paris and different places. And then 2 days later, the same guy, same PT, another one of his clients came up to me and goes, 'Here, sure, I was in Barcelona there at the weekend, walking in Les Ramblas, and I seen a guy in a Paul Hughes t-shirt.'"
Jeez, those things are sounding like hotcakes.
Like, sounding like hotcakes. But man, that means a lot. Like, it really means a lot. Like, so it does. I mean, this fight coming up, like, it, as I've said in my social media posts, like, this is for the people. This is for the people that were there in the pre-party and at the last fight. You were there. You seen the crowd there.
Yeah, it was
It
crazy.
was unbelievable. It was truly something I'll never forget, and it's something that's really carried me through this. It has been the support, and it's been the words of the fans that I've got to meet that night. People that I would never have got to meet if I was fighting that night. You know, people that I'll never forget from all places. I had people coming in from Germany, from all places around the UK. People flying in from Canada just to be there that I had never met. Like this, it's unbelievable, and it means so much. And November is for those people, and I can't wait to raise that belt and to just look up in the crowd and see those faces that I got to meet that night, and hopefully get to see them again after. And it's, yeah, man, it means a lot.
Yeah, I want to mention as well, there wasn't a free bottle of beer left in that party as well, Paul. But we can sort it out next time.
It was
But
all
Paul-
right until you two boys rocked up and you had 3 bottles in each hand.
Oh, stop! I was at the bar filling the fridge back up, being like, "Jeez, these FAI lads." I was like, "It's all Patrick McAllister." That's all I'm saying.
Lads, like obviously, Rhys, you're looking at the end of the year show, and Paul, you're going to be competing at the 145 show in London in the Indigo. Like, what sort of Paul Hughes should we expect at this event? Because obviously we had Justin on, we had Jordan on ahead of the last fight, and he actually thought you won by split decision in the last fight. So, like, what sort of Paul are we expecting? Cage Warriors 145, on November 4th.
Well, I mean, I'm just completely different, man. It's going to be almost a year since I last competed, and the improvements that I've made is just absolutely absurd. I mean, like a race, we got to train a lot in that last fight, and I'm sure you could notice the difference in just a few months. But that, although the fight fell through, that's money still in the bank from that training camp and from throughout since that fight. So honestly, I'm going in there at a different level. I want to just show. I don't even want this to be close. I don't think it will be close. I think that I'm just going to show that I am just on that next level. Although Jordan's obviously an amazing fighter, high level. Like at the end of the day, I think I'm high UFC level and have been for a while. And I'm just ready to show that, man, on the big stage, which is where I perform the best. I want the big stage, the big pressure, the all or nothing stakes. That's where I perform. So I'm just really looking forward to just showing that finally. It's going to be almost a year, as I said, since competing. So very exciting.
And obviously, Paul, you're extraordinarily well-rounded. You work on everything. But when you had that time over in Thailand, what were you working on over there, and what has that added to your game?
Everything. Everything. I don't let any area of the game slip at any point. Honestly, as much as there's times where I love my boxing, I love my boxing spars, there's times where I love just my straight jits. I never let anything slack, ever. There's no part of my game ever weans off, ever. So I was working everything out there, man. I got some unbelievable work in Tiger Muay Thai, some unbelievable sparring the whole time I was there. And it was a fantastic way to start my camp. I had almost 2 months and came home here to 12 weeks of full camp. So I'm just leveling up all the time, bro. And I'm really just excited to actually show it in the cage.
It seems to be like quite a recluse, that Tiger Muay Thai, for a lot of UFC fighters. Like you see Hamzat Chimaev out there, Piotr Yan, amongst many more. I think Alexander Volkanovski goes out there the odd time. Was there any fighters that you crossed paths with that you got a bit of training in at the time?
There was big names there. I wouldn't be training every single day with the big names. One guy, in fact, won the world title in ONE FC, the featherweight title at the weekend. His name's Tang Kai, Chinese guy, first ever male MMA world champion. He would have been probably one of my main training partners, and we would have sparred a lot. So he's very high level. That was fantastic. Funny you mentioned Volkanovski. The last time I was in Tiger a few years ago, I got a lot of training with him. Really sound guy. Was able to test my level there, and yeah, it's very good place for testing and a good place for sort of seeing where you're at as well. And it's gives you a lot of confidence. Put it like that.
How chunky is he, Paul?
He's a thick boy, but he's small. Do you know what I mean? And great guy though. I have his number on my phone now. He's the soundest guy ever. I really love Volkanovski. So I do.
Yeah, don't taste someone's air fried food.
What about yourself, bud? Like, first of all, is Paul Hughes going to be the latest guest on your Obsessed podcast? And what way do you see the welterweight division working out now in Cage Warriors?
Yeah, like I'd love to have Paul on if he can free up time and come up to the big smoke of Ballymena. He's welcome. You know, I think if there's any man obsessed, you know, it's Paul. So he's welcome anytime. As for the Cage Warriors division, yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? Like, but listen, if I don't go to the UFC next, it doesn't matter who's there or where they're at, or I'll finish whoever's in front of me. And I mean that no way disrespectful, but I've always said I'll not be touched in Cage Warriors until I'll never be touched in Cage Warriors. The UFC is where I need to be and to be challenged. That's the only place to do it. So whoever it is, the whole thing is just a body, but it's just someone that I'll finish.
Personally, looking at it, I think there's sort of two options. I think Matt Figlak looks like an option now, only because Mike has gone to fight in UFC Paris this weekend. So shout out to Mike,
Mike.
top lad. And then also maybe Jimmy Wallhead, just to give him that last run at the title. I think they're the sort of two top contenders that I look at for that. But like I think each has equal sort of say on whether they should get there. But I still think when the betting line comes out, Rhys McKee will be the favorite.
Yeah, and like you know what, I was the underdog against Justin. I was underdog against him. Like it doesn't matter who it is, they'll be finished, and it's really that, and like I'm too young and I'm too fresh and I'm too relentless, and again that dog mentality, I'll not be put away. So in the nicest way possible, I couldn't care less who it is.
Yeah. Another thing I actually wanted to ask the two of you about was what do you make of the MMA scene up in Northern Ireland across the island with the likes of Cage Conflict, you have Cage Legacy, Premier FC, Eurofighting Championship, Clan Wars, Chaos Grappling. Like, what do you make of the scene, and is there anyone from your perspective, James, who everyone should keep an eye out for?
Do you want to go, Paul, or do you want me?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I think we had a bit of a lag, obviously, with COVID and stuff. And I think back a few years ago with changing the sort of rules with in terms of the medicals and stuff, sort of set us behind a little bit. But it's really, really good to see the scene just taking off again. And I mean, obviously, we know MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world, but it's so evident. It's crazy. I mean, the amount of numbers in our gym, I'm sure it's the same in your gym, Rhys. I go down and spar at a Muay Thai gym, Lanka, with Garrett Smiley and the likes of them ones. And last year, there would have been maybe 10 people at the classes I was at, and there was like 60, 70 people. So the growth of the sport is just unbelievable. And to have all of these shows now popping up as well, it just gives people a platform to go all the way. And then they see the likes of Cage Warriors in Belfast, they see Rhys winning the belt, and they're going, oh, okay, there's a guy from here doing that. I can do that. Mm-hmm. So it's unbelievable. I think just how the industry's going is just so exciting, and can't wait to see where it's all at in 5 years. Like,
yeah, and the level of it's so high. Like I commentated a show at the weekend, and
you have your own show coming up soon as well, don't you?
Sorry. Yeah, we have a show coming up in the October 30th, but I commentated a show, and Kieran Coogan, it was a flyweight against Joe Beck, and they're two fighters so fresh in their career, and then they had a little amateur tournament. They were all like, nobody had any more than 2 fights. And the level of these fighters, like I was laughing on the broadcast because I'm like, it's ridiculous how good they all are for like how little fights and experience they've had. But like when you're in and around these gyms like FAI and Next Gen and any established gym in the country, like you're not getting easy rounds anymore. That people think because you're the Cage Warriors or the UFC guy, like you just steamroll everyone. Like I remember being up in FAI in that last fight camp, and a little 15-year-old, maybe 16, and you might know who I'm talking about, Paul, got on my back and near pulled my head off within 5 seconds. Like the level is ridiculous.
You're looking for that scalp.
Who was it? Who was it? Michael. Yeah.
What a beast! Like, do you know what I mean? Like people can't sleep on the level of amateurs in this country. It's frightening how good it is, and it's frightening how good it's going to be.
What's Michael's surname? Let's give him the shout out.
Michael. Yeah, we're trying to get him back. Actually, I asked Pat. I said I want that kid on the show in Ballymena, so. All being well, I'll get them matched.
I was like, what's the name of your show, Rhys? Just for everyone listening.
The Fight Project, the MMA series we're going with, because we do like a Wimp the Warrior boxing style thing, but this time we're adding an MMA segment with I think we have 4 professional fights booked on it so far.
Oh shit!
That's yourself, Deck Larkin, isn't it?
Yeah. We're trying to get Paul Hughes as a special guest, but we'll see.
Look, if you need a hammer anything, Rhys, give us a shout.
Talk to my manager.
allows. The budget might not allow.
But if you need a hand, give us a shout and we'll come up and give you a dig out, whatever you need us to do. Whether you need us to give out the drinks or you
Carry the
need Barry
belts out.
to put the belts on people.
I'll get you a fight, okay?
Lads, is there anyone on the like, obviously Paul, you're booked in for 145. Is there anyone else from the gym that you want to see on that card as well? Because like it'll be a big card, big eye, like a lot of eyes on the card.
Absolutely. I mean, Paddy Henderson just signed a 5-fight deal with Cage Warrior, so I would assume that they're really looking to get Paddy on there. And what an addition that would be. I'm sure Rhys can speak on that as well, as how good Paddy is. He's been a big fan of Paddy for years, as have I. So, what are you saying?
Oh, he's so frightening. Like he's
so good.
And
so they are Paddy McCrory, sorry. Unbelievable. And then I would also love to see Sean McCormick on there. He just made his debut in Cage Warriors last week, as I'm sure you've seen. How damn good did he look as a middleweight in there? Like, so fast, so clean. Rhys obviously sparred him a lot. He's so fast, so clean, so agile for a big guy, and is a real problem in middleweight for any of them guys in that division. So I would love to see the lads on it, and likes of Kyle McClurkin as well. I want all the lads on it. Do you know what I mean? I seen Keelan Loughran got signed for a fight there, although he doesn't train out of our gym. I absolutely love watching his style, and I love watching his come up, and it'll be sick that he's in the card because we'll have even more Irish fans there. And big fan of his. Hopefully he gets a title shot soon as well.
Not many people, other fighters, say that about him. We love him. We think he's one of the most entertaining people in the world. But he
mate,
so many people
always
the wrong
been a
way.
fan. I love it. I love his persona. Do you know what I mean? I really like it.
But I'm not gonna lie. If you meet him in person, you think he's this shit talker, you'll be disappointed. He's actually one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet when you talk to him face to face.
100%.
Yeah, Rhys, is there anyone you'd like to see on that card as well, or even on the card that you could be potentially on as well?
I think the card that I'm potentially going to be on, I'd like to see all the same people that Paul mentioned. As for the one Paul's on, again, like just trying to make it the Irish party again would be unreal. All them names, like, and I think what Paul's trying to say, basically anybody in the country, like, who's deserving should be on that card, like, and that's it. But I tell you what, I'll be there. I'll be there for sure.
Let's make it Ireland versus the world on that card on November 4th. I'll be all for it.
Why not? Really? Why not? Like, there's going to be so many people traveling over. Get all the lads on there.
And Rhys, is there a location for the New Year's Eve show?
I would say it's London. I haven't heard that officially. I haven't even talked to Cage Warriors in an official kind of way about this, but I would believe it's London. But I've just told them if I don't get what I want, if I don't get what I want now, then I'm going to defend anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, obviously the November 4th is in London, November 12th Manchester, November 20th is in the BT Studios in London, and then the 31st London again.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, still have no Christmas dinner.
There we have it, lads. That's why Baz is the best in the business. He brings you all the dates. He has them all written down. He has you all chalked off. Like, I never know when anyone's fighting. Baz was like, so and so's this week, so and so's this week. He's the best at it.
I'm
all right. But like, lads, like, we sort of raved them, but like, what would it make of like the Irish lads in the UFC at the moment? Obviously, we want to see you boys in there as well. We only have Ian Gary there at the moment, and then Conor McGregor. He's off doing a movie. We don't know if he's actually going to come back next year or this year, but whatever. But what do you sort of make of like Ian in the UFC at the moment? Because like, Paul, you were there, like you were in this corner when he won the title in Cage Warriors.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like Ian's last performance was just ridiculous. Like, it was so good. I was blown away. Not that I didn't know he could do that, but he looked so damn good. And I've been so high on Ian for a long time, and I'm one of his biggest fans. Like, I truly think that he can be the champion within the next 3-4 years. I think he's that good. I just understand how his mind works, and I know his potential, and I know his ceiling, like, and it's high, man. He's so good, and fair play to him for how he's getting on out there. He's absolutely killing it over in Sanford, and the improvements are just so clear. They're so clear.
And what about yourself, Rhys? Obviously, he's someone who's in your division as well. So what do you make of his performance so far? And is that a fight that you'd like to get at some stage?
No, like, again, it's like he's in my division, but he's Irish. Like, it's
unless it's for the belt.
Yeah, unless it was for the belt, I don't see any need for us to cross paths. It's like, how can you not be happy for someone committed their whole life to what he's done? I know he's got a child on the way, and he settled down, he set up a life for himself. So like, again, he's another Irish guy showing young people how it can be done, and it's just another way to do it. Like between myself, Paul, and Ian, like Flip and Connor, I suppose. What directions we've shown you can go. Maybe don't go Connors just yet, but free for now.
Wait till you get 100 mil in the bank first, and then you can do what you want.
Yeah, then I'll spend most of my time on the yacht as well.
Well,
No,
it,
but,
it just seems like if there is an Irish show next year, like I mean, you boys should be on that card as well if all things go right. You know what I mean? It's very, very exciting for 2023.
Yeah, we might as well let
Yeah,
Joe
it is.
McColgan make his comeback on that show as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a no-brainer that they'll want to do a show probably around next year, I would say, in Dublin. I don't see why not. Like, they always came back here. COVID sort of situation has obviously eased, and you've got Ian there. Fair play to Ian for breaking through, and he's got so much hype there. It's not just like he's not like going in there just getting a couple wins nobody really cares about. He's creating a lot of hype, and that'll probably really bring them back to Ireland. So fair play to him for doing that. And as you hear, I'm his biggest fan. Like all the power to him.
Yeah, and also Darren Teal owes us a fight in Dublin as well. We won't forget that. And Molly McCann wants to be Irish now. She's given up her English heritage. She says she's Irish now. She wears the green in the UFC as well. So as someone with that much star power at the moment, we're more than willing to accept her.
I'm happy with that. She was going mad at my last fight, but supporting us, so I'm happy with that.
Katie Taylor's cousin, like, how could you not?
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, do you not know that? No.
No, are you talking shit?
No, swear to God.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No
they're cousins.
way.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's amazing.
Yeah, she told us on one of our shows that we did before, and she was saying that like she's actually cousins with her, not one of these like fake cousins. I think they have the same auntie or something like that. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, so that's cool. So we love her even more.
100%.
Exactly. How can you not love the meatball? Lads, we've kept you here half an hour. It's actually been great. Hopefully the people tuning in have enjoyed it as well. Is there anything you want to say to the people now? Because like we're looking at the end of the year now. Paul's obviously going to be competing for the title again, and then Rhys maybe or maybe not be competing in Cage Warriors again. But is there anything you want to say to people tuning in now?
Go ahead, Rhys.
I think just like, I think we're both very grateful of the country we have behind us, and to be in the position to fly the flag for everyone. We're extremely grateful and proud. So, let's get behind Paul on the 4th and, just cement everything that he's created so far and just show why he deserves to be where he'll be after this fight.
Yeah, and look, obviously, likewise, Rhys, let's get him in the UFC here. Obviously, he deserves it. So I have no doubt that'll be the next move. Like, so yeah, all's good in the hood here.
Yeah, and no extra round at the end of any sparring, right?
No extra round at the end sparring. That's the rule from now on.
Stick to the schedule, lads. Stick to the schedule. Rhys, thanks a million. Hopefully anyone who's watching this, they will check out the Obsessed podcast. It's Rhys' new podcast. It's really, really good. I listened to the first episode. I had a good laugh at him having to re-record the first episode because for those of you who probably don't know, we had to do that for about 4 or 5 of our first episodes back in the day. So don't worry, Rhys. It's a common thing. Hopefully you get to see you have your next fight in the UFC because that's where you deserve to be. Hopefully UFC come back with another European card because that would really, really suit us, and then we'll be able to go see it. And then Paul, you know yourself, you have a job to do. Come November 4th, you get to right that wrong on the record books, and you get a chance to become the undisputed featherweight champion. So definitely do that. Also, Rhys, you have a Skeletor t-shirt still knocking about.
I think they're all shipped out.
Maybe if you hound them enough, you might be able to find your next one. And then I'm sure Paul Hughes will do another batch of jerseys at some stage soon. So
they're coming. Always,
yeah.
bro, always.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a bit of merch from the lads, get onto them as well.
Yeah, and Paul, if you want to come on with Jordan in the build up to that fight as well, we'd be more than happy to host the face-off, bud.
Sweet.
Yeah, love it. Guys, thanks a million. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, share, subscribe, smash the notification button because this is the ultimate Irish MMA show. Sure, no one else to bring you 2 champs for the price of 1. And as always, Stay energized.
Energized show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.